This is the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, where we have conversations with everyday martial artists about their histories and how martial arts influence their daily lives. You are listening to the abbreviated version of this podcast, which is the first 20 minutes or so of the show. Please consider supporting the show by subscribing on our Patreon page, www.patreon.com/MALMAG, and for about the price of one coffee shop coffee per month, you can get access to 4 new podcasts each month, 1 week before their YouTube release dates. You also have access to all of our existing shows, which at this point is about 100 hours of shows for you to enjoy. Individual shows can be purchased at our Gumroad page. That is malmag.gumroad.com. If you're looking for some sticks for FMA, some cool t-shirts, or even a course on Dos Manos, have a stop by martialartslifestylemagazine.com and click on the store tab or on the courses tab for that course. This week I get on Zoom and I connect to South Carolina and I talk to Ed Stahl, and we talk about how he got into martial arts, what made him pick the arts that he trains in, getting out of his comfort zone, the art of teaching, and the art of losing in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and much more. Sit back and enjoy. Welcome to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, and today I'm hooking up with the East Coast on Zoom again, and I'm talking with a friend of mine who I've met through the Inosanto circles, and certainly one of somebody that I enjoy kind of going back and forth with online. I don't think we necessarily go back and forth. I think we tag team, basically, on some stuff.
Right.
But this is Ed Stahl. Welcome to the show.
Happy to be here.
Great. And one of the things I just kind of want to add, Ed, you make probably, I think, some of the better videos that I like to watch out there. I mean, you know, we all watch a lot of stuff on YouTube and whatever, and I like your approach. It's pretty lighthearted, and the fact that, you know, you demonstrate a lot of what I would call very good understanding of material, and you know, even with someone with the how do I say this without sounding like some kind of asshole? With the experience that I have, okay, I've got 40 years in martial arts. I'm not tooting my horn. I'm just saying that I like the fact that you can give even someone with my experience another way of looking at something. So, you know, I enjoy that. And I do get that a lot out of videos I watch. It's not like I'm sitting up here looking down from a perch at people going, oh, wow, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I actually like that. I like videos that are looking to instruct, which is what you're doing, as opposed to there's a lot of show off videos, and that's all fine and dandy. You know, I've seen the fireworks show every 4th of July. I know what to expect, and that's kind of, you know, what those are, and it's great. But I'm going to come back and watch ones more like what you're doing, which actually do teach a lot. So I just wanted to express that as we get started.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah.
So, you know, we're early on in the show, so hopefully people will rush out and do a little search on YouTube for Ed.
Yep. Look for Ed on Metrolina Martial Arts. That's
there you go. There you go. Quick plug. But anyway, yeah. So why don't you tell us how you got involved in martial arts? How'd you get started, with who and why, and that sort of thing?
Sure. Yeah. So I started training, I guess about this point, almost 20 years ago. And it was with a guy named David Quigley, who you might know, who trains at the academy.
Yeah.
So he used to live out here in North Carolina, and we happened to work together at Office Depot, of all places. And I remember I'd walked into the back room when we were both working there, and he was cutting up a box with a box knife, and it looked cool. And I was like, "Oh, what's you're just cutting that box, buddy? Okay." And he's like, "Yeah, I train, you know, in Filipino Kali." And I was like, "I have no idea what that is." And he's like, "I'm an instructor."
But I just want to make sure you're not a sociopath, and I'm going to make friends with you.
Exactly, right. I'm like, you're the old Dane Cook skit where you give the guy a Snickers.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, thanks for the Snickers. You're welcome. Don't kill me. So he started and he was a Jeet Kune Do instructor as well. His lineage was like It was himself, and then Scott Shields, and then Dan Inosanto. And now, of course, he trains, at the academy. So that was my start about 20 years ago. I then David moved to Chicago, so I continued my learnings here with Scott Shields. I started with him in mid 2008, and then I started doing the seminar circuit with Ron Balicki, who in mid to late 2008. And so that's when I really started diving in. When I was training with Dave, it was fun. Like we practiced in a park, and he was good, obviously, but like it was just, I needed a class structure type thing. So that was what Scott Shields provided. And then I needed a deeper, because I'm the type of person that I like hyper obsess. So as I start to do something, I like dive full in. And so with Ron, I could like go and get, 6 months of material at a seminar, just like what with Guru Dan does, right? It gives you 6 months of material. So I'd get that, come back to the academy, Scott Shields Martial Arts Academy, and then I would have the quote unquote up, as I'd be able to like do reps and stuff like that. So that's how I started in martial arts. I mainly was a JKD guy.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so I didn't do the Kali so much. For those that are unaware, I lost fingers when I was like 6 years old. So like 30 some odd years ago, 33, 34 years ago. And since I lost my fingers, holding the sticks was very challenging.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, so it would be such.
Now it's interesting. I'll just kind of tell people, because we're on video here, but the podcast goes out all audio. So Ed was kind of showing his hands.
Yeah, I was showing my hands.
Follow his descriptions. Yeah, he's missing some fingers, but
I'm missing. So my right hand only has its pinky essentially, and the pad of the thumb is what I call it. So I don't have a full thumb. So when I hold the stick, it has to be death gripped by that pinky, that one finger.
Oh wow! So you got some pretty strong forearms on that one side.
On that one side, yeah, I do. But when I would swing a stick, what hurt more than the swinging or anything would be the contact of the sticks. The reverberation would push.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
So it wasn't until honestly, like I would train Kali. I knew how to do it. I just couldn't train it for very long. If I went to a seminar, I would always try to get in a 3-man group, so that way I could pull out and just kind of get. I don't pull anyone down or hinder somebody. I could do the knife stuff. Knife was fine because there was no clash with the knife really.
Right.
But stick, double stick, stick and dagger, that all hurt. So I didn't really start training I did the Kali sections of the seminars. I did the Kali class sometimes. So it's just like, but I didn't really start until like 2015 with Kali, roughly thereabouts. And pretty much what started it was the Lameco Eskrima handguard that looks like a beer koozie.
Oh yeah. Looks like the old beer cooler from back in the day.
Exactly, yeah. So I got that, and I was able to actually like the reverberation went into that and not my hand.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I was actually able to train with some intensity. And then roughly like 2 or 3 years after that, I was able to get soft sticks that didn't suck. So once you found like Ron had made some Balicki stick trainers through Cold Steel, and those were foam, but they had like a PVC pipe in the middle, but they were foam, and like I could swing them and I could go 100%. And I didn't need I didn't need the koozie anymore because they were padded. With Cold Steel going, changing hands, doing all that, they stopped making them, or they changed how they made them, and they're horrible now. But I now get I think they're called soft sticks or something like that. Burton Richardson put me onto them. But they're the same kind of foam. They're actually a little stouter, and now I can actually train Kali in earnest. And that was in 2015, and that's when I started jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu as well. So that's kind of my big blanketing where I got started and stuff.
Wow. I like the idea that you're picking two arts that require some grips.
Yes, yeah.
And it's I love it. I love to see the greater family that we have and the people that come in. And I see people all the time. Like there was a guy that was in, I want to say a lot of things blend together to me, unfortunately. So one of our earlier this year events, and the guy basically had no arm below the elbow on one side. And it's just watching how people will adapt, or like you said, get into a group of three, so they're getting some knowledge, they're getting a little practice. But the fact that it's not really going to be a mental detriment
Yeah.
to folks who want to train. They come in
Yeah.
and they do it, and I honestly learned so much, from them. Obviously, there's a whole we're going to put you up on the pedestal. And go, look, no excuses, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's great. That's a great little poster to put up, but that's not necessarily what I'm interested in. I'm more interested in how their mind works, how your mind works at adapting something and going, okay, I'm going to get to the same spot, but I'm going to take this other route, because ingenuity, I think, is something that always has appealed to me. Like, understanding how other people's mind works around problems and problem solving, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, it's one of those things. Yeah, it's nice to say, like, I'm a big fan of Bruce Lee's using no limitations as limitations. Like, in my head, I don't have any limitations, like hands or whatnot. But there is that mindset, and then there's reality. And the mindset is good. The mindset pushes me forward to past those perceived limits. But reality is, there's going to be just some things that are going to be very, very difficult for me to do. Without adaptation and consideration, specifically like jujitsu or kali, where I do need grips.
Yeah, because the design is obviously martial arts are designed by people that have 10 fingers and 10 toes and 2 arms, 2 legs, and such.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Well, that's really awesome. I mean, one of the things that obviously you can look at in our family is like, well, there's Jean-Jacques Machado, so clearly I can go and perform at a pretty high level with not having 10 fingers.
Yeah, and he's, I've met him. I met him at the academy a few years ago, maybe like 7-8 years ago, for one of the world conference camp. I can't remember the name. And yeah, it was great to meet him there, because he didn't even realize it at first, because we're just doing jiu-jitsu, and then he was looking at a grip that I was doing, and he was like, wait a minute. And I'm actually a brown belt under his brother Carlos Machado.
Oh, cool. Right.
So I'm in the Machado family. There's no at the moment, there's no Jean-Jacques Machado schools near me. Otherwise I would have tried to jump on that affiliate train as a school owner, but with Carlos, like, I kind of wanted the outsiders input too. It's like, hey, Carlos, you rolled with your brother a bunch. You know what he can do and what he can't do. What kind of advantages and disadvantages did you see that he had? And it's all one big family. So it's yeah. And you can see Jean-Jacques going to ADCC Gold and stuff, and you see how he rolls, and you see him at the academy there when he's there doing it, and you're just like, this guy, you can't stop him.
Nice. Yeah, no doubt. No, he's poetry in motion to watch. I mean, I like watching all those guys. And, I've been very fortunate, obviously, with the the people I hang around with, that get to go see these guys, and you're like, okay, and then you get to kind of see it all and have just awesome conversations with them, and it's exactly. It's I think it's a great example of a larger group really kind of working together to encourage each other, and certainly something with some of the nonsense that we do see online. I think one of the things that you try to push out there, I do, and a lot of other people, it's like, look, there's an alternative. It's like, what happens online is one thing. What goes on in the school and among people is a whole different thing. And that's such a different element that's super encouraging. And it's a good thing to be involved with,
I agree. And I think the one thing online that people tend to forget, or maybe even like gloss over, is that we're all kind of people. We're all humans.
Right, exactly.
And and like, I try to not take myself too seriously. And I feel
you do a good job of that. No, that's actually what I really, really love about your approach to, especially one thing that you and I were talking about recently. I don't necessarily want to bring all that jazz up in here, but it was just, you were cracking me up, dude.
Yeah.
Like I was literally for about 3 days just laughing at what you were doing. I mean, like ab workout laughing. It was so good.
Yes, that's good. Well, that's what I want, because like,
Yeah.
if you watch my YouTube, you can see like I I'm a skilled individual at martial arts. I'm not the best. I'm not the worst. I'm pretty middle tier, whatever. But
Yeah.
like,
And that's great. But you enjoy
yeah,
doing it.
exactly. I have
Right.
a great
Yeah.
time. And everyone online, especially in the groups that we're in, or the ones I used to be in, they, um they just take themselves
Oh God.
so
That's great.
freaking yeah, they just take themselves so freaking seriously. We're just
Yeah.
like, bro, you're just some dude who's cosplaying like Bruce
Like
Lee,
the
or
rest of us. I mean,
yeah, we're all
realistically, like the
doing it.
rest of us. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I got Bruce Lee on my wall too, man. It's cool. It's cool. We're all in the same
Yeah.
thing. You don't need to be. This isn't life and death right now. Like, we're
Yeah,
not
exactly.
curing cancer. We're not solving world hunger. We're literally
Yeah.
pretending to fight each other every day for fun.
Right.
You get paid to do.
Right. And we're all not gonna meet up in some alleyway secret tournament in on an island somewhere and duke this
My
out. It's like, come on.
gosh.
And if we
Yeah.
did, what would it mean? Nothing.
Nothing. Literally nothing. And it's funny because, like, when you're in a Facebook group, it's kind of not super controlled, but it's kind of a controlled group, right? Where you're like,
Yeah.
these are people that are like specifically looking for this thing. When you post content on YouTube, that can go to anybody. Now, generally, it's people looking for the thing, but man, you just get some wild comments to where you're just like, where are you? Like, where's your brain at?
Yeah.
Like,
Sounds
challenge.
like the homeless guy. Like, is the homeless wino sitting on the corner got a phone with access to this? Like,
Yeah, like, what is going on? Because like I've only been like quote unquote dojo stormed one time. I've been very lucky.
really?
Yeah, just once. That's all it takes.
You're a young man. I can't even believe that shit still happens.
It
Like, I
does.
mean, you tell me your story and then I'll
Yeah.
tell you mine on that. But
Yeah,
and
no.
how long ago it was. That's why it's funny.
And so I post videos online, and I posted one that got some interesting engagement. I had some pretty high tier other YouTube martial artists on the video. Rob from McDojo Life, great channel, McDojo Life. Sensei
Uh-huh.
Seth, Icy Mike from Hard to Hurt, who's super prickly but awesome guy, and I love him. And like, I
Right.
had these guys on the channel asking about a trapping drill. Okay, and it was my first like big video,
Right.
and
I think this is one of the first ones of yours that I saw, and I
yeah,
believe my comment was you have a good understanding of this stuff.
yeah, and I was trying to get an outside perspective on it, just to make a
Right.
conversation. And the conversation, I thought, went pretty productively. We talked about some things, but then 99% of the comments are good, but there's always the 1 or 2 percent that just go bananas. But most of the time, and this is in hindsight, I should have not named the channel the channel the name of my school, because it gives them direct access to at least
Right.
my email and my messenger, and I had to
Yeah.
change the phone number. Like, but anyway, so they
Yeah.
messaged me saying, "Man, you're crap." Can I cuss on this? Like, is that a problem?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Say all the bad language you want in any language that you want. Either if you want to curse
Okay.
in Slovakian, go for it, man.
Got it. Yeah. So they were like, "You fucking suck, and you don't know what you're talking about." And I was like,
Like
"Okay."
how tame? Come on, that's boring. We hear that all the time. What's going on?
Yeah. I'm like, "All
Be
right.
original
Thanks."
in your.
Yeah. Like, thanks, bud. Okay. And he's like, "People actually pay you to learn this?" I'm like, "Actually, yeah, they do. I have a pretty nice school. You should, if you're ever in the area, come on by." And it turns out he's only 45 minutes from me. And he's like,
Wow.
"I'll be by next Tuesday. I'm bringing my buddy. We're there." And I was
Oh
like,
wow.
"Okay, well, just sign a waiver and we'll have some fun." And they come in, like, remember, they're talking like mad smack. Comments are
Right.
smack that they
Right.
posted on the Facebook group, because they were in that at a time that it was crap. And then they posted and then messaged me that it was crap. So,
Right.
three strikes there. So they're coming in. I'm assuming they're wanting to
Yeah.
fight me, and which is fine.
Right.
And so they come in and completely different tune. "Hey man, Steve,
Of course.
how are you? Oh man, it's
Oh,
so nice to meet you. I
I'm
really,
the shit talker.
yeah." And I
Yeah.
was like, "You you said these things about me, and you're gonna pretend that I didn't hear any of that.
Right.
He was a complete change of tone. He did my class. He left. He was like, "Oh man, I'd love for you to show me some wooden dummy stuff." Cause he comes from the other side of the fence in terms of JKD. And I'm just like, yeah, man, anytime. Like I could show you what I know and you can have a good time. And then he goes home and then he starts posting more crap immediately. And I was like, what? What? It was,
Oh God.
it's mind numbing. So I ignored him for the longest time. And I recently, because he started commenting on my videos again.
You're
Uh,
thinking, what hospital let this guy out for a weekend for
oh,
right?
and I feel bad for the guy because I'm like, obviously got nothing going on if you're just trying to comment on my crap.
Yeah, I have
Like,
a feeling I know who this is. I think I've gotten into it with the same person. I think they blocked me a long time ago because I have that effect on some people.
yeah, and like if you're really hurt with him, I think he's blocked me now because I on the YouTube comments, I only block like really bad people. If they're just talking crap
Right.
about me, I do not care.
Right.
But like, so he started commenting again, and he was like, long story short, he said something along the lines of like, I don't understand why you weren't more welcoming. You acted like
Oh
you
my
know more
God.
than I do. Just a little bit of a different perspective. So
Ed, you're a terrible person. You're
I
a
know.
terrible person. You got to
I'm,
stop being so unfriendly,
I
unlike
know.
any experience I've ever had with you.
Yeah, I know. I'm the worst.
Stop being completely the opposite of what I know you to be.
So I commented out of character because I'm just tired of these comments where I'm like,
Right.
I do know more than you. Just full stop. That was the whole comment that I said back. I'm like, I do know more than you. And
I don't doubt that.
yeah,
I've seen a few videos. Again, I think we're talking about the same person. I've seen a few videos, and it's like, yeah, you do.
yeah,
I mean, I'm not going to rip him down, but if I'm comparing this to this,
yeah,
yes, you know more than he does.
and again, like it's one of those things where like, if you want to just and again, taking yourself seriously, if you want to have a conversation and you can talk and show, I'm all for listening. That's what I do. But if you're just going to come in and talk smack, I'm not as likely to listen. Just if I came into like a restaurant that you own and I'm like, it's a pizza place, and I think I hate pizza. That's not the way to start the conversation. Yeah, why are you here?
And this concludes the abbreviated version of the podcast. Please consider supporting the program by going to www.patreon.com/malmag and subscribing to the show. You can also purchase this individual episode or any individual episode at our Gumroad page. That's malmag.gumroad.com. Thank you for listening to this episode with Ed Stahl. Coming up next week, I connect to the UK and I talk to another one of UK's finest, Dan Holloway. Our Malmag online store at martialartslifestylemagazine.com has a full selection of Timmy B's brand sticks for FMA and Krabiker Bong. Timmy B's brand now selling in Japan as well. Beautiful Timmy B's brand shirts and Dos Manos shirts are available with new t-shirt designs and more products coming soon. An online course in the Dos Manos method for FMA is available under the Courses tab. More courses coming soon. Check out the Places to Train tab to find schools near you, and click on the events calendar page to see what seminars and events are happening all around the world. And of course, visit our main page for articles on the martial arts. Music by Jackal Relic. Martial Arts Lifestyle Magazine and the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast are trademarked and copyrighted by TNT LLC.